Hey everybody and welcome back. This video is titled Lookalike Triplets Took a DNA Test, Get the Results They Did Not Expect. I have a strange feeling about this. No way. I just can't believe my eyes. Nicole exclaimed as she saw the results of a DNA test she and her lookalike sisters made. What at first seemed to be an idea for fun was now drastically changing their lives. The secret was revealed, and there was no way back. The Dahm Triplets story began in December 1977 in Jordan, Minnesota. Their parents knew that they were special from the get-go, but they never realized that their daughters would be identical. It was a very nice surprise, one that would start an enchanting tale to this day. Nicole, Erica, and Jacqueline Dahm were meant for a life of celebrity and fame. They didn't know it yet when they were born, but these were all written in the stars. Although, how did their parents separate the identical sisters as they were all growing up? Raising identical daughters must be hard. This is why their parents had a far-fetched idea to help them differentiate their daughters. Most parents wouldn't agree to do it, but the triplets had been tattooed while they were very young. Nicole was marked with 1, Erica with 2 dots, while Jacqueline didn't get any. Their parents said that as long as these dots were on the soles of their feet, it should be okay. We think that each parent has to do whatever they can to separate their children. Naturally, the Dahm triplets were the talk of their town in Jordan. Growing up, their blonde hair started to go brighter, and their blue eyes were mesmerizing. Their neighbors could see that these girls were special, but their parents treated them equally. Nicole, Erica, and Jacqueline all attended the same public school. They were the envy of many because of their beauty. Although they never really got into any catfights because of this, which was a relief to their parents. As they grew older, the sisters realized they wanted more than what their small town could offer them. As each year passed by, the Dahm triplets started to grow weary of how everybody treated them in Jordan. Sure, they were all identical, but they were completely normal people. Sometimes they felt that being a triplet is both a blessing and a curse. Before we continue, if you like this video, please like, comment, or subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. Now back to the video. Their parents knew they wanted more from life, so they encouraged them to venture into modeling. As teenagers, the girls landed their first magazine cover. They were ecstatic, and it was such a thrill. However, modeling was far from their minds, and they wanted to pursue something else. After graduating from high school, the girls knew that they needed a breath of fresh air. So they moved out of Jordan and into Minneapolis to attend the University of Minnesota. It was their first time living in a big city. It was daunting, but they were grateful that they had each other. Nicole, Erica, and Jacqueline all enrolled at the University of Minnesota as nursing students. These girls wanted to work in the medical field, and they even thought that they would carry on into med school. However, a flyer on their campus might change their minds. While walking from one of their classes, Jacqueline caught a glimpse of a flyer that said they were looking for models. The triplets had previously modeled, but they weren't sure whether they were up to the challenge this time. The magazine on the lookout was Playboy, after all. They tried to shrug the idea of modeling off of their minds, but they simply couldn't. So they called their parents to ask for their blessing so they could join the search to be Playboy's next centerfold. Although they knew that this magazine had some sort of reputation, what would their parents say? Their parents were surprisingly very supportive of their daughters' modeling endeavors, especially thinking that they would be very vulnerable in front of the camera. So the triplets tried their luck and auditioned. Little did they know that the casting agent would be completely smitten with the idea of a triplet cover girl. In the end, they won the competition, and they ended up posing for Playboy. It was quite the experience for Nicole, Erica, and Jacqueline, and it meant that this might thwart their studies. So would they carry on in the university, or would they go off to chase their modeling dreams? The Dahm triplets started to realize that there may be a life for them outside of Minnesota. They knew that they were special from the get-go, but they didn't know they could actually be models. The support of their parents made them realize that they could do it, and it was all the acknowledgement that they needed. Little did the girls know that their gig with Playboy would only be the start of a very long career. However, there are some families who ended up loving the spotlight that they started to bicker and fight with each other. Would the Dahm triplets let fame get in the way of their sisterhood? Nicole, Erica, and Jacqueline dropped out of their nursing programs at the University of Minnesota. Instead, they traded their supposed college degrees for a life of fame and fortune in Hollywood. This was the dream that they didn't know they needed, and they couldn't be more excited. The Dahm triplets knew that life in the spotlight would be challenging, but they were grateful that they would be going through it together. Not everybody has the same bond with their siblings, but they were happy that they do. The girls were hopeful, but they weren't expecting what would happen next. As soon as they arrived in Tinseltown, the girls started to land their dream jobs. Nicole even said, "It was a roller coaster of emotions because we knew that not everybody gets these jobs so easily." Needless to say that the triplets had what it takes, and they were ready to chase their dreams. Nicole, Erica, and Jacqueline had appeared in a variety of shows and films, and they couldn't be prouder of everything they've accomplished together. Life was getting better and better, and the fact that they were all together was simply the cherry on top. Little did they know that they were going to meet the loves of their lives in no time. A few years after they first arrived in California, the triplets have started to meet the men they wanted to marry. Erica married Jay McGraw, who was Dr. Phil's son and a respected producer in Hollywood. Then it was Jacqueline who married Billy Dolan a few years after her sister settled down. The eldest, Nicole, married Michael Kelly, and they couldn't be happier. They all had married around the same time, and they all had children around the same time. It was as if everything was going according to plan for the sisters, but was there a catch? The Dahm Triplets were living their best lives, and they couldn't be happier. They knew that leaving Minnesota was the best thing that happened to them, and they were grateful for the support of their parents. They were living the dream in Hollywood. Because of the connections that Erica had by marrying into the McGraws, an exciting opportunity came up for the sisters. Dr. Phil wanted them to be a guest in one of his shows, The Doctors. Although there was a catch, the sisters had to take a DNA test to see if they were actually identical. What could go wrong? Nicole, Erica, and Jacqueline were quite excited with the thought that they were going to get a DNA test. They were all interested in science and genetics. After all, they were supposed to work in the medical field had they carried on with their nursing degrees. So the triplets chose the brand 23andMe, and they carried on with their DNA tests. It was an exciting time, and it was even more thrilling because they would reveal their results on live television. They were expecting something normal, but what they were going to get was far from that. Dr. Phil enlisted the help of an Inside Edition reporter named Lisa Guerrero. Lisa was supposed to help reveal the triplets' ancestry, and she also was to write a report for Inside Edition. It was such an exciting time, and the Dahm Triplets couldn't be more thrilled. The time finally came for Nicole, Erica, and Jacqueline to get their results while being filmed live on The Doctors. It was a bit nerve-wracking, but the sisters wanted to know if they were indeed identical. What they would hear during that time would completely change their perspective and outlook on genetics. As the results flashed on the screen, the Dahm Triplets had a worrying look on their faces. They all had different ancestry percentages, and it was quite alarming considering they were identical triplets. The results said that Erica had 16% Irish and British ancestry while Nicole had 18% Irish and British ancestry. It doesn't stop there because the sisters' French and German ancestry also differed. Nicole had 11%, Erica had 22.3%, and Jacqueline had 18%. How was this possible? The doctors on the show said that this wasn't a very accurate test, and if you really want to know more about your genetic makeup, you should go to an actual laboratory. Still, the people watching on the audience were astounded, as were the sisters. However, it didn't stop there because while the sisters all had 99% European ancestry, the breakdown was quite different. It showed that they all had Scandinavian roots, but it differed from sister to sister. Erica and Jacqueline had 7.4%, while Nicole had 11.4%. The Dahm Triplets were confused, but they were also amazed at how genetics works. They were all from the same egg, and they were identical, but their genetic makeup wasn't. They had so many questions. They admitted that this would change how they looked at genetics, and they would want to look into it further. After this episode, even the journalist, Lisa Guerrero, admitted that she would like to look into her own genetic makeup. However, she said that she would actually go into a laboratory. Nicole, Erica, and Jacqueline admitted that this was an interesting experience for all of them. If it weren't for Erica's father-in-law, Dr. Phil, they wouldn't have discovered these things about themselves. It was such an interesting episode, and they were glad that they participated in it. While their genetic makeup seemed different, the girls still knew they were all identical sisters. Nothing changed for them, and it somehow made their bond stronger. So where are the Dahm Triplets now? Today, the Dahm Triplets live their best lives in California alongside their partners and children. Nicole, Erica, and Jacqueline usually post photos of themselves together on their social media accounts, and it goes to show how close the sisters have become since leaving Minnesota. Sometimes fame and fortune aren't the enemies, especially if you have a close bond with your sisters who are sharing the same journey with you. What do you think of these girls' stories? Would you also try an at-home DNA kit? That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. As always, if you like this video, please like, comment, or subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video.